All right, welcome everyone to the New Mover webinar as we get into this fall season. Again, the purpose of this call is to try to answer any questions we have and just do our best to present what exactly the New Mover mailer is, strategize and brainstorm some ideas on how it could be helpful for your church. And really, again, my goal in a call like this is to help you leave really with as few unanswered questions as possible. So that if you guys had to, you could go teach someone else about it and really just discern, is this a good thing for your church to engage in right now or not? And genuinely, we want to help you discern that. So that being said, just a little bit of the why and the vision behind a New Mover mailer. Essentially what it is in a nutshell is every month, it's a subscription service where automatically people who have moved that month within a certain mile radius of your church, they'll get a piece of mail, a piece of physical mail in their mailbox delivered to them with some kind of welcoming, hospitable message from your church. It's a kind of mail that exists out there. There are multiple companies that do it. We're really the kind of the leading company within the church space that specializes in this kind of mailer. And there's a few differentiators there that we'll get into later that makes us pretty excited and pretty confident to offer this in a special way to churches. So again, that's what a New Mover mailer is. Automatically sends a welcome piece of mail to people who have moved within a specified mile radius of your church on a monthly basis. The why behind that is simply that people are most likely to engage or re-engage with church during seasons of transition. They're exponentially more likely than any other season of their life during seasons of transition to engage or re-engage with church. And one of the most significant and frequent seasons of transition that people experience is when they move. There's a few other in there. There's when there's tragedy. That's a time when people are very likely to engage with church. When there's a new member of the family, like when they have a baby or when there's a new job. But moving is really one of those top seasons of transition and one of those ones that we can really kind of predictably count on happening month after month. And so we'll see in just a minute what that looks like for a specific area. We'll see how many people are moving and what the cost would look like and what the options for customization would look like for all of that. So with that being said, especially in this season, as we get into fall, man, there's a couple seasons throughout the year where, again, people are disproportionately likely to take that step towards a church, towards engagement with a church. And fall is really one of the top, probably one or two times, maybe two or three times. You have moments like Easter, the beginning of the year, and then it really is fall. And the reason being, again, because you're reestablishing norms, you're coming back from summer season, you're getting back into school, getting back into work rhythms. And as part of that, people are naturally poised to kind of think, okay, are we going to engage with a church or not? And if we are, what's that going to look like? So with that being said, what I'm going to do really for the majority of presenting right now is I'm just going to share my screen. I'm going to open up a tab over here in another window, and I'm going to go to outreach.com. So give me just 1 second. There we go. Give me a quick thumbs up if you're seeing that. Good. You should be seeing our outreach.com homepage. And again, just to be as helpful as I can, I really just want to walk through what exactly this looks like. And before I get there, can somebody in the chat window just volunteer your church's address? Give you a few seconds here. Volunteer your church's address. We can do a couple too, and we can just plug these in and see what they look like. So somebody put in your church's address. There we go. Oh, thank you guys. So helpful. Okay, I'm just going to go with the first one. Kate wins. Okay, 112 Charles Street. Let me copy and paste that from the chat window over to outreach.com. Now, on outreach.com, I just want to walk you through even how to get there. This is our homepage. You see all this navigation up here. If you go to the direct mail tab, and then underneath that on the leftmost side is the New Mover mailing program. You can just click on that. And what you will see is our landing page for New Mover. Now, what I want to emphasize is this is something you can all do on your own, and you can just kind of go in here, plug in your own address, get your own numbers, play around with your own map, and it's kind of fun just to see what exactly that all looks like. So if you go in here, I'm going to copy and paste that. Looks right, 112 Charles Street, Maryland, USA. Now, Kate, if you don't mind, unmute your mic if you're able to, or maybe chat in the window, either one. Tell us a little bit about your area as far as, is it a more dense, urban area? Is it a little more spread out? Tell us a little bit about it.
It's fairly, it's a town, but a small one, but increasingly a bedroom community of Washington, D.C. There's a lot of new buildings, a lot of condos being built.
Okay. What's the rough population of your town?
Oh, yuck. I'm terrible on that stuff. I literally don't know. Let me Google. I will Google while you
Totally
go
fine.
on.
Totally fine. I'm just asking because this is where you can really get custom, and there's no wrong answer here.
It says 9,000, under 10,000. This says.
Oh, under 10,000. Okay.
Under 10. So it's and then the other my two churches. The other one is very rural, in a rural area.
Okay.
Nearby.
That's great. Thank you so much, Kate. That's really helpful. So this is where you can open this up, and you should see a pretty good range. You can go really small and condensed. Like if you're in a very urban metropolitan area, you want to go with a smaller radius. If you're in a more rural spread out area, you'll want to go with a larger radius. 5 miles is a pretty good average for a lot of churches. We'll see what that looks like for here. We might want to do more depending on
I'd go 10 or 15.
Okay, maybe we'll try 10 or 15. So let's see what this, since I already clicked on it, see what this returns. So within 5 miles, that's still a solid number. There's 92 families, or that it's residences. It's more than just a single person. So 92 units moving in on average every month. Yeah, out of curiosity, I'll go back and I'll click 10 and I'll see what that returns. So here we are in Maryland, 10 miles around. It's usually quite a bit more than double because of, it's a radius, not just a doubling what it was. So within 10 miles, here's what that looks like. There's 222 on average new residences that are moved into. Those are both renters and owners, no kind of discrimination in that regard. It's just not businesses, it's residential addresses. And so I just want to show you how to navigate this page that you'll see. No matter what address you put in, and then you pick a mile radius, what you're seeing here is what the proposed map would look like to hit that radius. And it looks like a puzzle, and each of these puzzle pieces is an individual mail carrying route. And the cool thing about this, well, first, as you're looking at that, over on the right side of your screen, you see the corresponding data. So for an average of 222 monthly movers, the cost to send these pieces of mail on a monthly basis would be approximately $175.38. So that's where you get this monthly dollar amount calculated from. And now if you scroll down on this side, you see some kind of cool data just throughout the year. You can see, when did most people move? Okay, you had a big month in May, and this is based on last year's data. You had a smaller month in April, bigger month in February. So it's kind of cool to see like a month by month playback of when people moved. And you can see here, the maximum monthly cost you would have based on last year's data is this amount because of May. You had 302, residents move in there. The cool thing here about this whole dashboard is you can go in here in real time and you can just click and deselect a mail carrying route. And these numbers over here adjusted accordingly. You can deselect this one or deselect this one. You can zoom out and zoom in and kind of say, okay, maybe we do want these mail carrying routes, and see over on the right side of the screen, the numbers are adjusting. But you might think, okay, it's getting a little rural out here. Maybe that's, we might not get the return on the investment if we go all the way out there. So let's deselect this, deselect that, or reselect it. Just trying to emphasize that this is all very customizable, and you can really kind of tweak around as much as you want to get to the exact map that you want. Now I'll just keep kind of moving through next step so we see it. If you just leave this selection as it is, here's the numbers that you see. But if you're tracking, you might think, Okay, but what if there's like a ton of people one month that decide to move within 10 miles? If for some reason God was just like, hey, there's 1,000 people who are moving, you might get surprised with a really big bill because, we're not doing anything to control that as of right now. So the next step is really helpful then. This is just where you can put a cap on your monthly mailing. And basically, I always recommend doing this because it just helps it be a predictable budget item for you every month. So just click yes, let's limit the number of postcards I send. And then there's your cap right there. It's that dotted red line. And just drag it wherever you want it to be. So if you're thinking in the 10-mile radius, you might want to just drag it kind of right there, like above the highest peak there. So you're pretty much always guaranteed to hit all the movers. But at the same time, you'll never be surprised if for some reason 500 people or 600 people moved in one month. You would still be protected and be, right under that amount. So this is the most you would ever spend, would be $239.37. And of course, it can be a lot less than that. The minimum is about $40 or $50 and about that amount of movers. So if you leave a cap, let's just say, hey, let's throw $230 at this every month, and we could feel good about that. Let's click the next step. The next option is what we call multi-reach. Essentially, it's the opportunity to send 2 postcards to the same group of people instead of just 1 postcard. And the way we would think about this too is you can do this without making it a budget ad. You can just say, let's send 2 postcards to 50 people or 1 postcard to 100 people. And that's kind of for you to discern, would I rather this same group of people get 1 touch point from our church or get 2 touch points? So again, these are the same people who have moved. They'll get 1 postcard about 30 days within moving. And then about 2 weeks after that, they would get the secondary postcard. Of course, to select the double, it'll double your price accordingly. And to select single, it'll keep it where it was. There's no wrong answer here. I will say I do love to see when churches select the multi-reach, so they want to do 2 touch points. I love to see them get creative and sequential with how they're going to structure their messaging. There's one church I love that their first piece of messaging they send, it's just a very, it's very non-salesy. Like it's very just about adding value to the mover. They'll say something like, hey, we're so glad you're here. We know moving is stressful. Remember to relax and, get some sleep tonight. And here's our favorite, park near your house that your kids will love. Have a great time. That kind of thing. And then the second postcard that they send 2 weeks later, after the mover already has like a pretty good taste in their mouth for that church, 2 weeks later, they'll be just a little bit more direct on their postcard. And they'll say, hey, by the way, we are such and such a church. Here's our service times. Here's how to pre-register your kids for kids care or whatever it is. So if you want to do 2, I would just encourage you to get creative and think about, okay, how do I add the most value to the mover? Not even just, promote, but how do I really leave a good taste in their mouth and kind of build that relationship of trust between my church and the new mover? But either way, you can send 1 or you can send 2. Moving on to the next step, and we're almost done here, so keep bearing with me. I know I'm kind of talking at you, but it'll get more conversational in just a second. The option here is to extend your first month's mailing to essentially go back in time and be retroactive so that you can reach, with your first month that you sign up, you can reach people who have moved up to the last 6 months prior to this month. It's a good call because people who have, been living somewhere for up to 6 months are still very much in that season of transition. And you can do, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, all the way up to 6 months. If you do that, of course, notice that the price will be adjusted correspondingly, just because of the number of people that's going to go to. So not sure if you're catching this, but your average monthly mover is going to be 220 movers. But of course, if your first month you sign up, you want to include everyone who has moved, that changes that number for the first month to 1,358 people. Again, adds some cost, but it also adds a good amount of value too. And it's a way to kind of cast that net a little wider and further than you would otherwise. So that's what we call just kind of extend. It's called Jumpstart, extending your first month back in time. Click yes or click no, either way. And then the next step, the final step, and I'm hoping you're kind of seeing how easy this all is to do. It's just choosing the design. We have tons of designs, and we're coming out with new ones all the time too, to kind of keep it fresh. I think something that really, can tailor to any kind of preference or style aesthetically. So we have, plan your visit, welcome to the neighborhood, just tons of designs here. And then, of course, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, not sure how this is looking on your screen, but I'm scrolling all the way to the bottom as fast as I can. And all the way at the bottom, there's these options: new mover, customer supply. So if you just want to submit all of your own artwork, this is what that would look like. Just click on that one. I'm just going to click on this one. It's called Summer Nights, just for an example right now. Works obviously very well in the summer. Let's choose this design, and then let's go to next step. And what you'll see here is basically your shopping cart. Here's what it looks like. $0 setup fee today. Estimated monthly cost there. Is there a cap? Yes. Your mailings will be limited to 292 addresses based on the cap we put on it. Are we doing multi-reach? No, we're just going to send one. Are we doing Jumpstart? No, we've chosen not to do that. And again, there's no right or wrong answer on those. We love to see as many people reached as possible. Go down here, add to cart. And that is really all there is to it. So now I've stopped sharing my screen, and yeah, let me think. With that being said, in just a minute, we could kind of open it up. And if you want to unmute your mic, ask any questions, or need any more clarification on anything, that's great. I just want to share before that a couple things that I see people do that I just think are really pro moves. Like they're really dialing this in and getting all that they can from it. Number one is get really intentional with how you are tracking this. So one of the coolest differentiators about Outreach's New Mover is that every month we'll send you an email report with the names and addresses of the recipients on it. So every month you'll be able to see who exactly is getting this. Now, with that information, we have to say that legally you're not allowed to send them mail from that list. Just for how it all works. Like, we're paying for that data to accomplish this kind of singular mailer. So you're not allowed to send mail. But I would say we see some churches out there just get really intentional with doing some very organic, neighborhood-focused outreach in a very intelligent way, because they know that these people just moved. So we see people take that list and give it to their small group directors or to their, lay leaders who are really kind of locally focused in their neighborhoods. And they say, hey, these families just moved like down your street. Why don't you invite them to like your barbecue that you're having next week? Or can you just go take them a plate of cookies or leave a plant on their porch or something? Like, let's do whatever we can to make them feel as welcome as possible. So kind of a cool way to think about, enhancing your local outreach. And then two, people will get really smart about how to track it. So they'll take this monthly report, throw it in a Google sheet or something, and then they'll basically side by side that with, their newcomers list, or if you have like a connect booth at your church or a newcomers table and where you take names and info, put those names here. Or maybe you have a membership class where you take signups and receive names and info, put that list over here too. And they basically just see, okay, let's run this thing for 8 to 12 months or something like that. And let's see if any of these names become any of these names. Like, are these people ever showing up on these lists over here? And if they're not, then okay, maybe this wasn't the right tool for you guys at this season. But I think what we see usually is that, yeah, these names, at least some of them, become these names over here. So it's kind of just a, kind of a tangible way to say, okay, we want to know if this is working. Well, that's a good way to see, like, are these people actually engaging? Are they setting foot on our campus and taking next steps toward connection with our church? With that being said, I think I'll stop rambling at you, okay? Please, yeah, if someone has a question. Regina, I see your hand.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my question is, is there a minimum amount of months that you have to do it? Like, can you just do it? Can you do it one time? Can you do it? Like, I just want to know, like,
yeah,
because the monthly charge is probably bothering me. So I'm just.
Yeah, thank you for asking, Regina. Such a good question. There's no commitment. Cancel anytime. There's no like contract or whatever. The caveat there is just there are some windows of time. So I could kind of answer a couple things in that. There's no commitment, no contract, and you can also edit what you're doing like anytime. So if you want to run this, for a year, but maybe when it's like October, you want to do something that's more Christmas focused, well, then that's easy to do. Like earlier in September, there's kind of a window of 2 weeks or so where we would need to talk and say, okay, let's change your design to this that has Christmas trees on it. And let's change your messaging to this that's a little more focused on your Christmas Eve services or whatever you want to do. And, in the same breath, that's the time to cancel it if you want to cancel it, or to make any changes if you want to add more neighborhoods or subtract neighborhoods so that it's going to less. So hopefully that answers. You can kind of edit it, change it, or cancel it.
Because are you sending the same thing every month? Or are you sending a new design every month? Oh, you're sending the same thing.
Correct. The same thing to different people. So yeah, if you signed up, this month, it's a little late in July. So over the next couple weeks, you'd really want to look at signing up to begin this in September. So if you do that over the next few weeks, be ready to launch it in September. Then when you're done with that process, every month we will send that piece of art and messaging and postcard to the people who moved that month. And then the next month, it'll go to new people who moved that month, Yeah, such good questions, Regina. Thank you. I should have clarified all that too. I saw Brian Bolton, question from you.
Yeah, you kind of started answering about changing the design, but is there a fee to change the design? If we say, well, I want to have a seasonal card, summer, Christmas time, and then we could come back to that design down the road if we're still in it. So what's the fee for that?
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I should have this more clarified. I think it's $29.50 for the change fee. So like for our designers to make those edits. Hoover's
$29. You're saying $29.50. Oh, $29.95. Someone typed in there. Okay.
Yes, $29.95. Yeah, so it's about a $30 when you want to edit it or change it, and that's just kind of covering the design work.
And I have a follow-up question to that. You were talking about the one church had some creative ideas what they do with their design. Do you have a handful of 3-4 churches that are really doing well with this and seeing great success that can be shared, that we have conversation? Because leadership teams are going to ask that, success rates, how do we know what's working, what's not working, type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing I could hand you, necessarily right here on the call, but we do have some, that's probably a good idea for us to package that a little bit better too. But we have, there's a lot of churches who are doing it. And so we could absolutely kind of pick some of
because we tried something like this 10 years ago and it was a waste of money. Of course, technology has changed greatly now. Yeah, totally. Well, props to you for considering re-engaging with it too, because I totally get what you're saying too. I mean, there's a lot of ways where it feels like intangible and you want to know that it's working and you want to be able to track some stuff. And I think there's been some really helpful advancements over the last number of years where, churches that are using it and really, I think, believing in it and investing in it are seeing some really good return on it. But let's take a note of that too, team, to we'll kind of follow up with that with some good stories and examples, especially for you, Brian. Thanks for asking. Paul Fair.
Hi, Jake. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Paul.
Okay, great. Thanks. Well, just a couple of comments. One is, I think the objective that outreach has, and I'm a newcomer. I'm not a person who's been involved with you guys in the past, but the objective that outreach has, I think, is so timely and so important. And so I'm truly hoping that the tools that you guys have created and/or perspectives you have gain some traction and are effective. So I'm really enthused about the mission of your business.
That's encouraging. Thank you.
And the second thing I want to say is this is maybe not as quite as flowery or complimentary. But the second one is, I came in like 5 minutes early for this webinar, first time ever, by the way. Yeah. And I went into a Microsoft Teams group that no one else was in, and the link sent me into a meeting that no one is in. There was eventually 2 other or 3 other people showed up, but you weren't there, Jake, and so we sat around and chatted a little bit, and then I kind of gave up, as did the other visitors that popped in. So then I called outreach to let you guys know, hey, look what happened to the webinar today, and spoke to a person there at outreach, and they didn't know what to think. And so then I tried to use the link again, and sure enough, it worked the second time. So something happened in the Microsoft world of team meetings. So anyway, just want to pass it on.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that, Paul. That's really frustrating. I could not tell you what sort of IT gymnastics were going on there, but I'm glad you ended up making it into the right place. I'm sure it was our mistake in some way, but thanks for being here, Paul. Anyone else have any questions, comments, just with the new mover presentation so far? Hoover's got a hand up. Justin?
Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Justin Hoover. I'm one of the account managers here at Outreach, and I was a pastor for 10 years before coming to Outreach. And so I just want to encourage y'all in just saying there's a lot of things we can do with this. With QR codes really expanding right now, you can put a QR code on there. We are partnered with Glue for a free texting platform that you can use, and you don't have to give out your personal number. For every new mover, for every person that comes through me personally to do any sort of mailing, whether it's new mover, direct mail, I encourage to do some sort of QR code because Jake can speak to this, but it's every single action or every single touch point you have is an engagement. And a lot of times it takes 7 or more engagements to really have someone make a decision. And so if you can have a QR code to engage, to send them to your website, if you have a QR code to engage in a texting conversation, the moment you get a texting conversation, you automatically now start developing some sort of a relationship in some cases. And if you're not good at that texting, we can set it up for you. We can help you understand all that. We have again, free platform. So I encourage you, there's so much you could do with this. Not just go visit door to door. You could have that QR code, and everyone who scans it, and it pulls up a texting series. I know Justin Rhodes can attest to that, who's on this call also. And so, yeah, so there's so much we can do and help you. And if you sign up, you'll get assigned to someone like me or Justin or Jake, who is directly involved with churches and can help you with all of that.
Yeah, super helpful, Justin. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, you're right. Justin Rhodes is on our team too. And Justin Rhodes is also a church planter too, who he planted a church. Correct me if I'm wrong, Just, was it sometime in the last 9 months?
Last fall. Yeah,
last fall. Yeah, so he pastors a church every weekend over in North Carolina. And yeah, he's a believer in the new mover program. And do you do QR codes on your stuff, Justin?
Yeah, we do a texting QR code on everything we do, so that we can grab their cell phone info and then also direct them to where we want to on the website.
Yeah, and it's pretty, to help you picture that, it's just a very slick experience that's like, it's very sticky, you know, it really connects you pretty quickly. So someone gets a piece of mail and it has a QR code on it, which not everybody is going to scan a QR code on a piece of mail that they get, but some people absolutely will. So they'll take their phone, scan the QR code, and as soon as they scan it, it'll drop them into a texting conversation with you or your church or a volunteer, or a preset sequence where, you know, you kind of set it up on the Glue app. You know, we're going to start with this message, and then after they send a message, we'll start with this message. Again, just a way to like extend touch points, help people come to a conscious decision of what they're going to do about your church, if they're going to engage or not engage. And that service is absolutely free. So that's a real kind of differentiator here, to add one of those onto the postcard as well. And a good way to blend what, you know, has been a very legacy traditional form of marketing, direct mail, and blend that with a very digital, very sort of progressive, just in terms of technology, form of marketing as well. So, Paul, I see another hand there. Question?
I do have one other comment to just add. Associate pastor of our church, I'm the pastor of the church, and an associate pastor kind of, I handed the ball off to him, and he sent you an email, Jake, and so his name is Howard. You will receive that. And one last comment about all that. Yeah. You guys are in Colorado Springs, at least I believe I saw that at the bottom of your screen. We have a son that lives there. Do you have any of your client churches that pop in and say hello to you guys? Or your client churches?
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So our headquarters is in Colorado Springs. Our team is a blend of local and remote workers too. So I'm actually way over in California. Justin's in Texas. The other Justin's in North Carolina. So we represent kind of all over the country. But Colorado Springs is where the headquarters is at. And there's a handful of wonderful churches there too, I know for sure, but I couldn't speak to them personally. But I know we've got a lot of staff in Colorado Springs who are, members of really great churches there.
How close are you to Focus on the Family, by the way? Curiosity.
Very close. I think there's a lot of kind of Christian, solutions organizations in Colorado Springs that I know of. David C. Cook, Focus on the Family, a bunch of things like that. So yeah. We're going to visit out there in a few weeks. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll be in touch with you guys.
Yeah, thanks so much, Paul. And I'll look out for that email too. I'm sure I got it, and I just have not filtered through quite yet.
Yeah, it just happened this morning, and I suspect perhaps you were preparing for the seminar or webinar.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Right. We'll open it up for just another minute or two. Questions? Comments, concerns, jokes? All right, I want to be really sensitive to everyone's time. We've gone about 30 minutes here, which I feel great about. Kind of keep it tight. Brian Bold, thanks. Have a great day, brother. So glad you were here, Brian. So glad that y'all were here. If you don't mind, I just want to pray for you all and kind of, send you out with a blessing, and then we'll close the call. We'll stop the recording, but a few of us will hang out here too. And if for some reason you don't want to ask a question, but you want to wait till everyone's off, we'll hang out here and talk to anyone who wants to hang out a little bit longer. And beyond that, we're so grateful that y'all were here. And let me just pray for you. God, thank you so much for today. Thank you for these moments that we've shared. Thank you just for the breadth of kingdom representation all over the country on this call. And there are people right here, just all over, who are doing the faithful day in, day out work of being in the trenches of ministry, representing a diversity of theological convictions and backgrounds, but Lord, ultimately all together working for the advancement of your kingdom and working so that people would come to know the love and the freedom that Jesus offers. And so God, I pray that even these moments would be encouraging as we look around the call and just realize that we're linking arms with other brothers and sisters who are in the ministry and in the work with us. And we're linking arms with companies like Outreach and other companies that are just shooting to be a resource and a solutions provider for churches. Holy Spirit, I pray you would do all the things that only you can, cause growth, cause revival to happen through these churches, and lead people to yourself. We love you so much, God, and bless these leaders in the name of Jesus. Amen. All right. Thank you all so much. So grateful for you and the work that you're doing. We'll stop the recording and